Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, and happy Good Friday. Good Friday, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Welcome to our weekly Friday panel discussions with the Hill Agency speakers, brought to you by Tap the Mic Radio. Thank you, Dorian J., for always being our sponsor. So, for those of you who do not know who we are a speakers bureau that represents incredible, diverse, talented personalities who embrace and adapt to what? Change. I'd say we've got a lot of change going on these days, and we are a speakers bureau that has taken this under our wings, and we are doing our thing. So we connect the right audience with the right speakers, and the right speakers with the right audience. We want to assist everyone, speakers, audiences, meeting planners. We want to assist everyone in achieving their goals. That's really important to us. So thank you for joining us here today. My name is Stay Hill. I am the founder and the director of the Speakers Bureau. Yay, me. I'm so privileged to be the Speakers Bureau director. I love everybody, all these speakers. You know, MPI has a slogan that says, when we meet, we change the world. Right? So what we're going to say today is when we virtually meet, we do what? We change the world. So let's get going. Let's get started. I want to start out by introducing, oh no, first of all, let me say this before we get going. I really want you guys to use the chat room today. So chat, say what you feel, if you have any questions for any of our speakers. We have someone monitoring the chat room. Colette Portis, one of our speakers, is going to be taking those questions and putting them out to our speakers during the time that we spend together today. So be sure and utilize that chat room. And if you have any questions at all for anybody, let us know. So first of all, I'm going to talk about our MC. Our MC is one of our speakers, Carmina Barnett. If you've been on this in the past, you've heard me talk about Carmina, and I'm going to talk about her again today, just to say this. Let me give you a little bit of background. So she began her broadcasting career in the year 2000. Ooh, that was a real long time ago, like 20 years ago. Yes, been doing it for a minute. Yay. Carmina has been a broadcasting radio personality, as in a program director, promotions director, director of operations, and she is a well-known radio personality here in the DFW area on gospel music. She also led her station to win the Major Market Radio Station of the Year at the Stellar Awards. Another yay, Carmina. Carmina is awesome. She is so dedicated to community. She's dedicated to making a positive impact. She is an excellent, as you will see, excellent interviewer, MC, host. She is one of our speakers as well. And she has also topics that she speaks on: motivation, inspiration for your soul, the gospel industry, and the power of adoption, that we will be talking about in the future. And she will be, instead of the MC, she's going to be one of the speakers speaking in that discussion. So anyway, welcome everybody. Let's get started. Carmina, take it away. Oh, let's talk about our first speaker.
Yes.
Our first speaker is Timothy Clunn, TK Clunn.
I'm real.
Good morning, TK.
Good morning, ladies. How are you? Doing great. How are you guys?
Doing well. Let me give you
y'all looking lovely today. Looking lovely, both of y'all.
Thank you. We're going to give them a little bit of background about who you are and where you come from and what you do and all of that. So TK, Tim Clunn, is a United States Air Force veteran and is regarded as one of the top industry leaders as a relationship specialist. He's in the world of corporate and sports marketing. He is a leading authority when working with hundreds of professional athletes and celebrities on their personal name branding campaigns and potential endorsement opportunities. He is currently the CEO and founder of Verve Systems, LLC, which is focused on products that enhance performance, protection, and recovery of our bodies. Very interesting product that he has. He has written a book called Stop Whining, Start Winning. It was published in the year 2017. And he is also the founder of a very well-known celebrity event here in the Dallas area called Red River Celebrity Softball Game, which kicks off the OU-UT college football weekend in Dallas, which I'm sure y'all have had to change that date. Tim, I know it's not.
Well, we're October 8th still. We're still October 8th, so holding in there.
October 8th.
We did have to change the Memorial Day game from May 16th to June 27th, the one that benefits the actual Folds of Honor Foundation.
Yes, the dates are changing and times are changing as we've known them in the past. So
it's okay. I've been enjoying being lazy anyway, so it's all right.
Right. Let me tell them a couple of the foundations you're associated with. Where I met you, actually, TK is known with Big Brothers Big Sisters, a Lone Survivor Foundation, Hounds and Heroes, Miracle League of Parker County, and Soldier Angels.
Yep.
So if you want a speaker that leaves the crowd inspired and motivated, TK is your guy. His topics are branding your name, personal and professional growth, after the military, now what, and nonprofits. So hey, TK.
Let's get it started.
Impact the room. Talk to it.
Let's go.
I am so excited to talk to you, TK, because I was just waiting for this moment, because I'm telling you, right now, faith is the thing we have to talk about. Everybody's so unsure and so uncertain. And so I just want to jump right in and just say this. Why? Why should we be talking about faith right now, TK? Let's start there.
My big thing is, what else you got left to talk about? You know, if you don't have faith, my God, yeah, you're running around probably with 2 or 3 masks on and 4 or 5 rubber gloves and everything else that you could completely protect your body in. And, you know, my wife, you know, it hasn't been easy being married to me for 20 years, but because I'm always one of those, like, don't worry about it, it's going to be okay, no matter what the situation is. You know, God's always in control. And just me personally, if I get taken out by the coronavirus, then it's probably God's plan for me to be taken out of the coronavirus. If not, then I'm not going to worry about it. I keep on pushing through my day as honestly, if not too much is going on. Because not really a lot has changed in my world. It's a little bit scary. Yeah, it is scary. You know, we've never seen something like this in our time for everybody has been around during this period. So it is a little bit scary to have to be stuck in your house or, you know, take extra precautions. And I get all that. But on the other side, you know, I think there's a little bit of overreaction, which stems from people not having faith in that the situation is going to be okay. And, you know, and a happy Good Friday to everybody. First of all, like, if you really want to get into faith, you know, you talk about somebody had to have faith was Jesus over the last 12 hours from last night to today, some serious faith, even questioning himself and what he was getting ready to partake in for us. So, you know, without faith, what else you got in life personally for me?
Exactly. And I know you're a person that has that unshakable faith. So let's talk to the people that they have faith, but they kind of waver, you know, it kind of falls back and forth. And so they aren't able to just have that strong faith that we really need. How would you encourage them?
Listen, my faith is all over the place all the time. I mean, I'm human, right? So I kind of have the red flag that catches me when I start kind of getting into a worry situation where maybe I'm worried or anxious a little bit. And when I catch myself doing that, that's when I hit the brakes and go, well, let me back up for a second. You know, what am I doing here? And usually I'll say a prayer on whatever's bothering me at that point and just turn it over to God and not worry about it, you know? So I think that's the biggest thing. If you find yourself anxious or worrying or stressed out, or no matter what it is, whether it's the pandemic, financial, marital, you know, just anything in life, just stop, pray about it, turn it over to God and let it go. And that's the hardest thing with faith, right? That's the catch-22 that I tell people, you know, is you can't pray on something and say you have faith that God's going to take care of it. And then right after you say your prayer, you go right back into worrying about it, because that's basically let God know that you really don't have enough faith and trust in me, that I'm going to handle this situation for you. So you do have to just literally push it off yourself. And the other thing is when you can lock yourself into that, and I've been fortunate enough to have my rear end handed to me on a pretty much daily, my entire life. Adversity creates champions. And the reality is, I think where the champions realize how they overcome the adversity is just being faithful and staying true to themselves, staying true to God. And again, not, if you can't fix it at that time, move on. Hand it to God and move on.
Exactly. And can we talk about this? Because again, we're dealing with this COVID-19 situation. And so one thing I know kind of pulls at your faith is maybe, I think you have to develop a balance. And I'll let you talk about this, but if you're watching the news constantly and feeding all that negative in, that's going to impact your faith to a degree, I believe. Kind of talk about that.
I've turned it off. I've turned off news, TV. My wife and I will be watching some Netflix shows lately, finding old movies we haven't watched in a while. As far as primetime TV, we really don't keep up with it. Again, and what's funny is when you don't get overwhelmed by all the sky's falling for the 100th time in the last 3 or 4 years, when you don't get caught up in all that, man, things just what happens, it seems like just daily normal stuff for us, besides everybody just having to work out of the house but actually we've enjoyed it, taking walks in the afternoon. I was kidding my neighbors the other day, feels like the 70s again. Neighbors are out in the front yard and kids are walking around the block and, it's just nice, to be honest with you. And I hope we don't go back to the normal of where we were. I think, whether this was, caused on purpose, by accident, I still think God always has a hand in it. And I think part of that hand is just letting us know, hey, we need to slow down and, enjoy some of the finer things, which is our family and friends, and, and get off the phones a little bit and, quit getting sucked into all the media and TV and, all that stuff as well. So it's actually been pretty nice for us, to be honest with you. My wife, with the hair salon and everything closed, been a different story. I told her, don't worry about it. I'll spray paint those grays that are coming in that I give her. But beyond that, yeah, it's been great, honestly. But again, if you have a choice in life, you can let the world around you destroy you and hold you back because you're scared on things that might not even happen, or you just be faithful, give it to God, move on, enjoy. That's kind of where we are.
I love it. And I need you to talk about one more thing, because we live in a world where we have to connect to people. And there are some people who will drain you of your faith. Talk about that for a moment. Talk about that for a moment. We have to be careful who we're connected.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. Even on, through your social media nowadays, whether it's TV, social media, I mean, just going down a timeline can drag you out. And, me personally, I've got my circle of friends, and I'm glad to have all my social media friends as well. But, if somebody's on there constantly negative, or I see negative posts from people, man, I'll be honest with you. I punch them out and block them, and good luck to you. And same thing, my cell phone. You call, if you're a negative person that call or rants or raves, I don't need you in my life, And I think too many people get too sucked into that. I need everybody liking me, and I need everybody. And the reality is, man, most people don't care about your opinion. If you can't be inspiring and positive and trying to help motivate other people, get off social media, to be honest with you. Or at least just don't come around my social media, because, you go get a black eye on your way out, I promise you. So,
I love it.
That's what we should be doing. We should be inspiring everybody and helping our neighbors and doing what we can to, help people achieve their dreams in life. And no matter what it is. And, for those individuals, my phone's always open. I love talking to people about, what can we do to help you get to another level. Beyond that, if you want to be negative, I'm just not the person to be around, And again, negativity sometimes, a lot of that comes from being fearful, right? I'm kind of scared. I don't really know what to do, so I'm just going to be negative about everything. And I'm going to be trying to pull everybody down to my level of negativity, instead of just saying, hey, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to have faith in it. I'm going to hand it over to God, and I'm going to keep moving on. And, and my faith comes from, my mom. This, when her and my dad went through divorce at a very young age, man, this lady could will anything to happen for me and my brother. I mean, if we were broke, she would pray on it. And I promise you, I distinctly remember her being broke, praying on it the night before. We come out the next morning. She had this old beat up little purple Opal. I don't even know if anybody even knows what an Opal is nowadays. But me and my brother had to dang near push that thing everywhere to get it even started, get that thing jump a clutch, get it moving. But I promise you, she was praying at night. She was worried. She was upset. We came out that next morning. There was a $20 bill laying right next to her car door. There was nothing else around. So to get this one little piece of paper nicely right by her car door, and I can remember today that, you know, my mom picked it up. She was so joyful, so appreciative, and was like, hey, this is what happens when you pray. God's always going to take care of you. When you pray and you stay faithful, God is going to come through for you. And it's $20, but that $20 probably did a lot for us back in the early 80s. Yeah. And, you know, and again, to this day, she's been an unbelievable lady in, again, being able to say, don't worry about it. And she's probably the one who, you know, has got me to the point where, again, if you can't fix it, there's nothing to worry about it. Just keep pushing forward. Stay positive until you can come back in with the solution to fix the situation you need to fix. Beyond that, just stay positive and keep pushing forward.
I love it. I love it. See, TK, you inspire us. And you also make me think that I need to protect my faith. You know, we protect things that have no value. So you make me feel like we need to make sure we're protecting our faith at all costs.
We're not leaving here with anything. I don't know if you've been to a funeral lately, but that person in the box ain't taking much with them. So the only thing you've really got is your faith, is Christ. And, you know, and again, you know, during this weekend, it's a true reflection to, you know, again, Jesus being as word as he was, you know, praying that he was hoping that there was another plan, another path God could take him on besides having to go through what he had to go through for our sins. And the reality is God didn't have another path for him. God had his plan, and Jesus went through with it. And I'm thankful every day that he did for us, because, you know, everybody on this planet is just a train wreck. You know, all of us are sinners as much as we try to be good people. You know, the reality is the negativity of the sin on this earth pulls us down. And, you know, if he doesn't stay faithful, if he goes, you know, like a lot of us do, go, I think I'm going to go this other direction, even though I think God wants me to go here. That's kind of too tough for me. I'm going to go this direction. We'd be in a bad situation right now on this planet, all of us. So I'm thankful to him that he stayed faithful and pushed through with what he had to do for us. So, yeah.
You getting any background noise from me or just
I love it. I love it. I love it, y'all. That is TK Faye. He's an amazing.
Happy Easter to y'all.
Him. And same to you.
Love you guys.
I appreciate him so much, Faye. Isn't he a blessing? We just love TK.
We love you guys. TK. We love TK. And one of the reasons I knew that TK would be the right speaker to talk about faith to us today is he is extremely active and connected with a lot of athletes, including many of the Dallas Cowboys, if you're a Dallas Cowboy fan. And
is there any other?
Is there any other? Right. And TK utilizes the word. He is always communicating with people on his social media platforms about faith, about God, about scripture. He's the most upbeat person. Just positive, always encouraging people. And so I knew for today, especially for Good Friday, I said, you know, TK is the right speaker to talk about faith today, because I have witnessed over and over again. And I thank you so much for your personality and for how you continue to
and you know what I do? And I do have one more. I did say one thing for us today. Matthew 17:20. If you have the faith, even as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it would move. Nothing would be impossible.
That's right.
So I go by that all the time. I stick with it all the time. And you know what? The reality is, it's kind of amazing when you can tap into that faith. You honestly can do some amazing things. And a lot of people are like, man, you're just so lucky, you're blessed. It's being blessed of just, again, I get my rear end handed to me daily. There's so many times during the day you just go, oh, why am I even doing this? I'm done with this. I'm tired of it. I'm going, you know what? I'm doing something else. But then you kind of get real back in and you stay faithful to the plan, and you just keep pushing forward, right? And that's the thing. If you just stay faithful, don't get scared. Don't get over worried. Just enjoy life, because what else you got to do, right? You're on this planet regardless. You might as well have a smile on your face, turn your frown upside down, and get pushing forward, right?
That's right.
So again, I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. And happy Easter.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We just, you're the best. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you guys.
Yes, absolutely.
So next up.
Next up. I want to hear it. Let's go. Now I'm jacked up with you. Let's go.
Let's go. So next we have speaking on the family, Chad Kerrigan. Chad is a life consultant and graduate of Oakwood University. He became an ICF certified coach by the way of a master's program in leadership and executive coaching from University of Texas at Dallas. He believes that greatness is a journey and not a destination. He brings humor, passion, expertise, nuance, and clarity to every talk that he gives. He talks with challenge. His talks will challenge you and push you. And if you're not paying attention, he might just make you believe in yourself again. Oh, come on, Chad. His topics of expertise are find your photo booth, kill your best self, and tactical mindset. Hey, Chad. Hey, what's up? You know it's your turn, right? To impact the room. Come on now.
Well, we get to talk to Chad now. We're talking about family. Now, Faye, let me do this real quick. Let me remind everybody, if you have questions, you can put that in the chat. We've got great members of our team that are watching the chat to make sure we can answer those questions. And also do us a big, huge favor. Mute yourself. I know you've got an amazing television show that's on right now, but we can't hear each other if we hear that. So let's make sure everybody mutes themselves so we can really give our speakers their just due. Now, Dr. Chad, I come to you. Again, we are dealing with family, which a lot of people are getting reacquainted with their family right now during this COVID-19 situation, which can be a good thing, though. That's a good thing. Some of our parents are in shock. Let's be honest. So talk about it, because they're to really shift their expectations, because the parents are home now and more than likely having to balance dealing with work, having to try to still teach the children, having to try to give them entertainment and keep them active and just basically keep the whole house going. So talk about how parents can shift their expectations and make the best of this hard situation.
So this one is really interesting for me, because my wife also has a company that's focused on helping parents connect with kids. Okay. One of the big things that I've been seeing in a lot of clients is parents that feel inadequate now. Their expectation is to simply flow into these new roles without problems, without issues. And the thing about managing expectations is that's usually what gets us tripped up in situations anyway. If you're dating and the person you're dating says the wrong thing, or a common one, as a woman, your father did particular things for you. Your expectation is the man that you date or marry will do those things.
Right.
But you don't communicate that and set those expectations with him. So when those expectations are violated, all of a sudden, it's a problem. We do the same type of things to ourselves. So because I'm your parent and I birthed you and I carried you for 9 months, or I watched my wife carry you for 9 months, I'm supposed to automatically know how to do the same things a person with a PhD in child development knows how to do. And I'm supposed to have the patience to put up with you for 24 hours a day, like a person that gets paid to do that does. And then when that doesn't happen, all of a sudden I'm the problem. So when it comes to managing your expectations about this whole experience, you have to think about, all right, here's me, here's who I am, here's how I think, here's what I'm used to. What do I want this to look like? Here's what's new. So now, what do we make those look like? I had a client, it's like 3 weeks ago, and he calls. He's freaking out. His company put them on work from home at the beginning of March. Okay. And so he said, knowing it was coming, he planned out 30 days of science experiments for his kids, because the schools hadn't really all gotten their things together. He was like, we can't stop teaching. He's an engineer. Okay. No problem. A week later, 7 days from the beginning of March, he calls me and says, we've done all 30 experiments. I don't know what to do now. So he's in a panic. He's literally in tears because he's a horrible dad. He's the worst father on earth. If he really knew what he was doing, if he was really cut out for this, he would have had all this together and planned better. I should know all these resources. Why should you? You don't do this for a living.
Right.
He got overzealous and excited because his expectation is these few experiments that I've never had the opportunity to really try out before should take the entire day. But when he did them, they were running through them. They were having fun. He's having a good time. When what he should have done was just enjoyed the process, enjoyed that time. Set that expectation. It's okay if the kids watch a little TV. It's okay if they just veg out. It's okay for them to go outside and not play video games or read a book. It's okay for you to not entertain and keep your kids occupied all day, every day, so that you can actually do your work.
Right.
So these expectations have to be set with how we engage. They have to be set with how we manage our time. They have to be set with what we do for ourselves. They have to be set properly with how we care for us and just manage what that expectation is supposed to be better, because otherwise we run into problems when we have unspoken expectations or unrealistic expectations of what this time's supposed to be.
That's good. That's good. So I started that question by saying that some of the parents are getting reintroduced to their children because we've gotten into a habit of, and it's unfortunately, that's just the world that we live in. So you drop the kids off at school, you go to work, by the time you pick them up, maybe we eat dinner together, everybody's in their rooms doing homework.
2 hours max.
Exactly. So let's look at a way we can look at this as a more positive and really try to build a stronger bond during this time while we're home together. What are some things that parents can do?
So that's another good point. Before we get to that, it's okay if your kids get on your nerves. On your last dang nerve. And it's okay for you to say it. It's okay for you to feel it. You've got to be patient with yourself. Those kids run your teachers crazy. My hope is that parents call their teachers, their kids' teachers, and apologize for all the mess they talked about their teachers behind their back. Teachers should be doing this. Okay, you do that. Have fun. Have fun. Enjoy. See what I go through every day. But for how we spend this time, then this is a really great time to connect. You know, this is a really great time to get to understand how your kids feel, to just shoot the breeze and talk about randomness and just spend that time with our kids the way they would spend time, the way we would spend time on a vacation. The way they would spend time with friends or with their favorite aunt or uncle, because they're not expected to behave like the son or the daughter. You're not expected to be the mom or the dad. You're just big person, little person. Hey, little person, what's going on? How are you? You want to do this? Sure, let's try it. I've got some time. How about take, like, one thing that a friend of mine did, and it was one of the best gifts I've ever gotten, one of the most thoughtful gifts. She bought me a book that had 1,000 questions in it, and they're all random. But the idea is that you call or speak to a parent or a grandparent, and you ask them these questions and just write down their answers. The idea is that when they pass or later in life, you've got this entire history of experiences and stories that they might not automatically think to share or to tell. And you've got this rich experience that you've had with them. You know, this is a time for us to get creative and just do little things. It doesn't have to be a lot. Right now, any little thing's going to make a big impact. We are bored out of our minds. Okay? We are going crazy walking around these same four walls, and I got to see your face again. Every time I walk in this room, I just want some peace and quiet. So what can what can we do to really just sit down and maybe we sit with the kids and say, hey, let's come up with a plan together, rather than me just talking at you and telling you this is how you're going to spend your day. Why don't we put that together? Give your kids the opportunity to do some decision making, some problem solving, make them feel like they matter, like they're a part of this. Reconnect with your kids in these ways, because the truth is, by doing that, it actually is kind of cheating. It's like a cheat sheet. You let them do the work for you. You don't have to be responsible to do all the thinking for everybody. Take that weight off yourself.
Wow.
Kids are smarter than we give them credit for.
That's true. That's true. That's good. And if I hear you correctly, you're really saying we could really use this to make some memories, make some things that even when it's on the other side, they're back at school, man, we did this and we did this. And, it could really be a positive. I love that. I love that. So then let's go here. And TK and I talked about this just a moment ago, of course, watching the news and just you're seeing such a high number of deaths and so many people impacted by the COVID-19. How would you encourage parents that have to have those conversations with their kids about what's really going on and kind of put it in a perspective where, of course, the children aren't freaking out, but they understand, okay, yes, it's serious, but, we're going to handle it this way? Or how would you have that conversation with or suggest they have that conversation?
This goes back to giving your kids more credit than you are used to.
Okay.
Kids are more intuitive. They are smarter. They are more open and understanding than we realize. So one of my friends, we were having a really deep conversation just about reactions to what's going on. We've each had people that we know that have died from COVID already. So while on the one hand, I agree about having faith because I'm a Christian, I still say, be concerned, take it seriously, be prepared. And in that conversation we were having, she tells me about her 4-year-old son. 2 different instances that happened in the same week. The first one is because we go to the same church. Her son is used to his prayers being answered in a very direct kind of way. So she'll get a headache. She gets migraines, and he will go pray, Jesus, take mommy's headache away. She'll go take medicine or take a nap. Headache will go away. And he'll come back and check, mommy, is your headache gone? And she's like, yeah. All right. In his head, God answered my prayer. Since he's seen the news and has a greater understanding of the time we're living in than she realized, he's been praying that people would stop getting sick. And because people keep dying, now he's asking existential questions like, why are people dying? I prayed for it. God's answered all my prayers before. Why isn't he answering this prayer?
Wow.
So he's in tears. He's struggling with learning the lesson that all our prayers don't always get answered in the time that we'd like, or always in the way that we'd like. Right. And understanding how to accept a no or a not yet. That whole concept when he's 4. Later in the week, she and I are talking, and he gets on, and he's like, because I'm pretty sure he's watched some more news when it's been on, when she's just had it on playing.
Right. And
he goes, who is this bad guy that keeps getting everybody sick, and why can't they find him yet? So we forget there have been countless stories and countless times we've done this when we were younger, where we've asked our parents these really deep, huge questions that our parents, that stopped them in their tracks, that they didn't really know how to answer because their thinking is that they have to protect us from the world around us.
Right.
Because, understanding the brevity and the depth of these concepts, not brevity, the breadth and the depth of concepts, We want to say our kids aren't ready for that conversation yet. They're not ready for that conversation yet. When in truth, we're not ready to have that conversation because we think we're exposing our kids to a part of the world that is too much. Yeah. When a lot of times it's too much for us. And the thing is to just take it slow. Don't hide from what's going on. Speak about what's going on. You don't need to give every sordid detail. We don't need to get into politics about how we feel about Trump or anybody else. We can just say, hey, these are some harsh things that are going on, and we're doing this to protect ourselves. We can't, why can't I see my friends? Why can't we go out to eat? Why can't I, go to school and see my teacher? You're not a great teacher. You suck at this. My teacher understands this. Why don't you understand this? And, just be honest, be open, share your feelings. Hey, you know what? I'm actually confused. But if we do these things and we follow these rules, we'll be safer. Yeah. We'll be protected. Yeah. This is why we're doing that. Give your kids the benefit of the doubt. They are so much more capable and able than we realize.
Right. Right. That's good. That's good. So I'm walking away with that. Give our kids more credit. And then the other thing you really, really blessed me with is we got to be patient. Yes, we want to be the super parent and do everything we can and take care of our kids, but it's okay, like you said, not to have the whole thing all planned out. So I really appreciate you saying that.
Let me add this too.
Okay.
Because families aren't just parent and kid.
Right.
Parents are partners. Husband and wife, wife and wife, whatever your situation is.
Right.
In the same way that you're around your kids all day, all of a sudden, now you're around your partner all day. People are getting divorced at a exponential rate because all of a sudden, I got to spend time around your annoying butt. The same butt that I loved the week before, that I only had to see for a couple hours before I went to sleep and on the weekends, if I'm being honest about the way life goes. Yeah. But now, every time I go in this room, I see Yotel. This is not just a great time for parents to connect. This is a great time for couples to connect. Yes. This is a great time for an understanding of setting healthy boundaries, physically and emotionally and mentally, and which makes it important for us to have discussions we've taken for granted and haven't really stopped to have. And a lot of times people haven't stopped to even think about that, to have that discussion. And then once we set healthy boundaries, respect those boundaries. We've heard this thing a lot of times. It's your job to get to know somebody. It's your job to know your spouse and your partner like this, that, and the third. Actually, it's kind of not. It's my partner's job it's my job to know myself and then educate you on who I am, how I respond, how I communicate. So then we need to do that for each other. And once we've set these boundaries, then we've got to really get into, okay, now we got this boundary. I'm going to go in my space, you're going to go in your space because we're in a tiny apartment. Now how am I going to take care of myself so that I stay in the best space? So I bring the best person into this situation. How am I going to honor myself and my boundaries as well as honoring yours? So it's important because my wife and I did this thing yesterday. We went on a date and all we did, order some food from a restaurant. They bring it out to your car because you don't go in. Right. They put it in the back seat because we're not touching hands, no touchy. We drove to the park. We sat in the car, turned on our radio, ate, and we talked. And for me, who's been in the house, I work from home anyway, so kind of like TK, not much has changed for me. It hasn't stopped me working. But while you guys are on maybe week 5 of quarantine, I'm on week 55. Because I don't go anywhere. I never really need to. So for me, it was a breath of fresh air, but it was a great time for us. There was no TV, no movies. We talked like we did when we first started dating. there are opportunities to reconnect, and it's important. It's just as important for the partners to do that as it is for the parents to do that with the kids. Because before the kids came around, it was just us.
Mhm.
And if we want it to still be us when this quarantine is over, we have to maintain with intention.
That's good. That's good. That's good. So everybody in the chat is stealing that date idea because that was so cool. But I'm glad you broke that down. And like you said, under the whole umbrella of family, just reconnecting, like you said, kids, couples, whatever the case, the reconnection is so important right now. Make this time positive. I love that. I love that. Faye, come on now, Chad, let us have it.
Okay, Chad. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Excellent. And now I guess you see why Chad is a life coach is,
Yes.
Yeah, it makes sense that it kind of goes with his personality and his
Yes.
thoughts and his ability to coach, because
Yes.
that's pretty much what he did. And I'm going to throw this in here for free. Families are families, and then families are extended families. Like you all are my extended family, right? A lot of people are by themselves right now because they're accustomed to going out and mingling and seeing people. And now all of a sudden you're shut down in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just you and you. And people that are, active and talk a lot, and they rely on you to check on them and have phone conversations and send them a text just to let them know you're thinking about them. So that's just another aspect of making sure everybody's okay. So reach out to those that are by themselves and give them a, how you doing, thinking about you. A lot of people do that for me, and I appreciate it so much. I really do, because it makes the day go by a little bit better. So last but not least, no way near least, is our next speaker. And she's going to talk about the future, So next up is Precious Williams. Precious, also affectionately known as Killer Pitch Master, can help you slay all competition with her killer elevator pitches, media pitches, and investor pitches. Precious is a world-class master communicator who works with successful women entrepreneurs and helps them take their professional pitching and speaking skills to the next level. As a 13-time national business elevator pitch champion, Williams has been on top television shows and publications for her pitching, branding, and professional speaking skills. She has been featured on Shark Tank, Forbes Magazine, CNN, Wall Street Journal, in the movie Leap, as well as several others around the world. She is equipped to bring life, authenticity, strategy, and boldness to all your oral and written communication skills. Precious is a graduate of Spelman College and Rutgers School of Law. She currently lives in Brooklyn, New York. Her topics of expertise are public relations, investor pitches, and media coaching. So Miss Precious, it's your turn to impact the room.
Thank you, Miss Faye. Come on, Carmina.
Let's do this. Let's do this. Precious, you got a serious situation right here, because people aren't thinking about the future. Right now, people are so caught up in all we're seeing on TV, all we're hearing in the news, and what's happening right now. And so they're not even realizing that we still got to focus on our future. Kind of talk about that and why we should be, looking forward to accomplishing some things in our future. Kind of get our minds back in check and looking at the future.
Well, I know for me and for everybody on this call, we've all been through obstacles. We've all been through challenges. We've all been through hard times before. And if anything, I always hear this: it's always darkest before dawn, but dawn is still coming, right? Mm-hmm. So even in this time, even COVID-19 coronavirus, there are still things that can be done. And the greatest, I remember, and I'm going to take it back before we take it forward.
Okay.
3 years ago when I was homeless, and yes, truly homeless on the streets of New York City, I remember, just sitting there and being so overwhelmed by my current situation that there was no way I could look into the future. And it wasn't until I went into the Bowery Mission Women's Center, and this takes it to UTK, that I was actually introduced to God and started to build a personal relationship, not what I grew up with, but a personal relationship. And I began to hear God. And I remembered I was there for a year and a half. I wasn't running a company. I didn't have a job. I was literally washing walls and baseboards, having devotionals, Bible study, all of those great things. But I couldn't speak. And I've been speaking for 25 years, but I couldn't speak. And I would cry. I would look out the window and cry because I was like, I don't know if that'll ever happen again. And God would say, it's going to happen. Trust. It's going to happen again. It's just not going to happen the way you think. You did it your way the first time, and it almost cost you your life because you were trying to do things to impress other people. This time, you're going to do it my way, and I'm going to show you how it's done. So when I walked out of that program, and I started speaking at nonprofit corporations and quit the job that I had. It was a very high profile job, but I wanted to speak again, and he said, it's time. And when I started speaking, and then opportunities kept coming, it kept coming. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is really happening. And I began to see what he wanted me to see. And you can sit today and you can watch the news and get freaked out and everything, or you can start being really present in your life and prepare for the future. And that's what I do each and every day. Yes, I keep in contact with family, my loved ones. I have faith, but the truth is the future is still so bright. You still got to wear shades. And if we make it through this is another obstacle. You can say, I made it through. I made it through. So that means there's something, dawn is still coming. And because dawn is still coming, your purpose isn't over. If your purpose isn't over, prepare to meet that purpose. What I say, well, when preparation meets opportunity, it's coming. And so for me, when I wake up every day, I feel, I can't even explain it. I'm just so hyped because there's so much still to do. And there's still so much opportunity. And you're right, this is a time to connect with people in a different way than you have never before. This is a time to really get to know people. This is a time when relationships matter because that's how you're going to make it in the future. And if you don't nurture these relationships right now, there is no future. So that's why I say you keep eyes on the prize. Eyes on the prize. So that's why I say you can do like most people and sit and watch the news and freak out, or you could be making your plan to meet your purpose. And that's what God said to me. You got to meet your purpose. I'm gonna have you sit still for a little while, and in this time, I'm gonna get your ride. And when I get your ride, I'm gonna let you go. And that's what happened. And that's why I say the future is still so bright. And the future belongs to those who believe in their dreams. And your dreams aren't over. Corona, COVID, come what may, it's not over.
That's good. That's good. So some of us are pessimistic and some of us are optimistic. Let's kind of talk about that. Why do some of us look at our futures in those different ways?
Well, as a woman who grew up with a very abusive mother and a drug addict father, I used to look at my life as very bad and horrible. What I didn't know is that my grandmother had been preparing for me for years. And then when she and my grandfather got me at 15 years old and I was angry and violent and vengeful, totally different from who I am today, she prepared for that. She prepared that she wasn't going to meet the pressure that she had in her mind. And so when I walked into her home and I didn't know what to think and what to expect, all she did was give me love. She loved the anger out of me. She loved the hatred out of me. She showed me God in a woman form. She showed me. Wow. And so every day that I wake up, I have her name. I'm Precious Williams. That's her name. And so because she loved the hate and the anger out of me, I can't live with that. And there are too many people who watch me, Miss Faith, all of the great people of the Hill Agency International, because they see that we still are at it. We haven't given up. There are people who are like, oh, I don't have physical speaking engagements, I'll sit back. Virtual is still popping. Companies and corporations still need you. People
Right.
still need you to teach, train, and to inspire, to give hope. People still need pitches. People still need business services. People still need life coaching. People still need the faith. Are you serious? This is the time that is very necessary to bring the best speakers in the world who've been through something. This is not something we learn in a textbook. This is experience. This is skill set. This is training. And that's why I can tell you, I am optimistic beyond all doubt because I know who I am and I know whose I am. TK. And so I'm here to tell you, pessimism doesn't really get you far. You'll be like most people looking at people like us. How'd they do it? We kept it positive. We kept it funky. Do I have some sad days? Yes, I do. And then I call my support network. I pray about it. I'm on it. I got a plan, and my story isn't about me anymore. Just like all the stories of the Hill Agency International. It's not about us anymore. It's about the people who come behind us. Because if we made it, we're showing you what is possible. If I made it out of homelessness, abuse, violence, torture, rape, if I made it through all of that, and all of us made it through all of this, you can too. Just hold our hands through it and listen to the words coming out of our mouth and know that it comes from conviction, not a textbook.
I love it. I love it.
Optimism, positivity, it's not about just being positive because that's like platitudes. That doesn't do anything for you. But when you know that you've been through things before and you made it through, he made a way out of no way, he can do it again, and you're still alive today, which means your purpose isn't over. That's why I can be positive. My purpose is not over. In fact, it's just begun.
That's good. That's good. Now, you said a few things. You know you got questions coming for me.
Bring it.
But
Bring
one thing
it.
you said, no matter COVID-19, whatever the obstacle, their future is still on the other side of that. So we got to work towards that. So what would you say are some of the most important things that we can do now to prepare for that future, even though we're having to deal with, this different situation?
One of the things that you can do, honest to God, and this goes back to what Chad was saying, is really invest in relationships right now. Your kids. I don't have children. I don't have a husband. In fact, a man yesterday asked me to be his girlfriend. What? Just put it in your mind. I'm 41 years old. A man asked me to be his girlfriend. And I really want to be like, okay, that's a different story for a different day. I'm sorry. I forgot where I was. Okay. Anyway, what I'm saying is, everybody's realizing the value of relationships. There is no way that I was sitting in InStyle Magazine, Google, Microsoft, LinkedIn. I didn't get there because I'm just talented. Someone saw something in me. And I'm still getting opportunities because of Miss Faye Hill, because of Colette Portis, because of people bringing me in, because I can be on a panel with Chad and TK. There's so many opportunities that we're not seeing. And a lot of people are coming to they're coming to these sessions and they're not really hearing the opportunities that are still there. Companies and corporations still need you. Nonprofits still need you. You can turn a free situation into a paid situation just like that when you show up. Don't show up half-butt about it. Show up in your fullness. There's a woman on this call who met me in another call who is a client of mine. I'm not going to put her on Front Street, but she knows who she is. She became my client. She met me on something else, but I'm telling you, she's on here today. She saw something in me, and she knew I was the real deal. So build up your relationships right now. Even those people you think you can't touch, you'd be amazed who you can touch today. When you can put a pitch together about yourself, and you know who you are. I am the killer pitch master. I slay all competition. I don't worry about nothing. I don't worry about anybody else. I don't. I got bad vision. I don't see competition. I'm like Nicki Minaj. You know what I'm saying? What did Jay-Z say? The only thing that matters is just a matter of years and encore. Sorry to bring up the hip hop influences, but you know how we got to do. But when I tell you, make these relationships count, and also do a real inventory of your skill set, your talents, and your abilities. So when people do that little question in their mind, why should I choose you? It's a done deal why they should choose you. Because you have put it out there why you are what you are. You are what you are. Before LinkedIn or Forbes or any of these people gave me shine, I was still the killer pitch master to myself. I just had to prove it to the world, but I knew who I was. So do that inventory. And when people start asking you questions, they start getting froggy with you, blast them, flex on them. from a place of confidence, not arrogance.
I love it. I love it. So then I need you to deal with this real quick, Precious. Now, real quick, we're trying to talk about our future. We're trying to make those steps and get into it. But the biggest curveball ever is fear. Talk about overcoming that fear to do what you need to do for your future.
So the greatest way to overcome fear is by taking action. We hear it all the time, but so many people forget that. Take action now. If you need to go on LinkedIn and you start putting a little pitch together, I don't care if I'd rather you do things imperfectly, like do good things imperfectly than to do nothing perfectly. Like do it imperfectly. Just start reaching out to people. Let them know what you're capable of. If you're a speaker, you reach out to Miss Faye Hill. Flex on her. Let her know that you good in these streets. Let her know. Flex on her. You know what I'm saying? Flex. You got people on this call. Flex on them. If you know they need you, flex on them. But you need to start putting yourself out there. Visibility trumps ability right now. The more visible you are, the more people see you, the more they'll see you over someone else that I don't know what they talking about. Visibility is what puts me ahead of other people. So I want you to do your inventory, put a little pitch together. If you need help, Pitchmaster is here. And if not, no worries. And start approaching people. The more you do it, the more you do it repeatedly, the better you'll get and the better you'll feel. The more you sit at home watching that television, Netflixing and chilling yourself eating that cheesecake, which I wish I had some right now, but we're not going to deal with that right now. The more you take action, the more you trump fear.
Good.
So, and also don't forget, God is in this. I've done so many things imperfectly and still wound up exactly where I was supposed to wind up. I sat in a program for 1.5 years with people telling me I'd never be on stage again. And these are great people, but they just couldn't see what God had placed in me as a young girl. And now they get to see it in a different way. Like, wow, she really knew who she was and we didn't, because God gave that to me. And when you know who you are, stay with it. Because the people who shine in their difference and embrace their difference are the ones that are going to make it out of this particular situation like nothing ever happened. In fact, much stronger.
That's good.
So action trumps fear.
I love it. I love it. Faye, I got to overcome that fear and take action. Precious done set us straight.
You not only set us straight, you gave us words to part by. Let me say this. The time goes by so fast in these discussions for me. I'm just speaking for me, Faye Hill, because I'm just caught up in every single person. There's so much to take away from this. It's an hour. Today it was an hour. Typically it's like 45 minutes, but you take away. Here's the main thing that we as a Bureau want everyone to take away. The show must go on.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Bottom line, the show must go on. Who are we? We're a diverse group of speakers that are showing you that our show goes on. With meetings, without meetings, virtually, we're going to do what we've been called to do. We all have purpose. Every single one of the people that are a part of our family has a purpose. Different topics, different expertise, different companies, different books. Everything that everybody has pulls together to who we are. And we're here to connect the right speaker with the right audience. The right audience with the right speaker. Next week, you do not want to miss Friday, because you know what we're going to do? We're going to talk about diversity and inclusion. Diversity and inclusion, what's that have to do with? Is there any value in that subject with what we're going through today? I think there is. And we've got an expert coming that's going to really bring it on, as far as we're going to talk about culture. We're going to talk about fitness, and we're going to talk about health. And it's all going to tie right back into diversity and inclusion. So don't miss next week. It's going to be same time, same place. And we're going to be here on Fridays. If it's just me and Carmina, we're going to be right here on Friday.
Right. Yes.
We're going to talk about whatever the Lord tells us to talk about that Friday.
Right.
But
right.
everybody tell somebody. And that's because I was on a seminar yesterday, and the guy said he was in a chat room in a meeting like this, and it made me want to really push the chatting amongst each other, because he met someone on a chat that said, now, why did you make that comment in the chat room, and ended up being one of his best clients today.
Wow.
As a speaker, put him in a meeting, and that's how they came together. So I'm saying that to say, let's fill up the room. This is getting ready to grow. We're at a point where there will be more people next week and more people the next week. And I'm going to keep putting it out there because we want all of our friends to know who we are. Who are we? We are the Hill Agency International Speakers, and we come bringing it for you. Yes. So happy Good Friday to everyone. Thank you so much for joining us.
This group's light so bright, I got to put my shades on to finish this show. Miss Precious, if I wasn't married, I'm heading your way right now, girl. I love my wife. I'm about ready to divorce up and head your way right now.
Precious, please stay safe in New York.
Yes.
I will. I'll stay in the house.
Yes.
Please do.
All of you, everyone.
Yes.
Stay safe, take care of yourselves, stay home, and stay healthy. We love you. Until next time, stay Hill. We're out of here. Bye, everybody.